association with JLJ Media, we're going to talk about episode 2, Spree. And in this episode, the Menendez brothers spend all of their parents' money. Well, as much as they possibly can before they can find the will that they search high and low for, trying to intercept any sort of learning of trauma and trouble that happened with the family in which the parents may or may not have included the kids in the will.
Because they were mad at them at one point and told them, Jose said, I'm cutting you out.
Apparently they were stealing, but we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
Also, they continue to have sessions with Dr. Oziel. Dr. Oziel continues to confide in his mistress, Jude. So much so into inviting her into his home so she can feel safe, so he can feel safe, so he can continue to psychoanalyze these kids. Ultimately, by the end of the episode, spoiler alert, folks, but hopefully you're watching this after you saw it, old Jude gets thrown out of the house and goes straight to the cops and is like, boy, do I have a story for you.
Exactly. Because, she found out she had been misled by him, saying, the doctor, saying that he was going to leave his wife. And I guess they had carrying on for a while before all this happened. And they'd been carrying on for a while. He had himself a little mistress, having an affair. And he was, and often, by either person, you can be misled that I'm going to leave them. I'm going to do this. I love you. Just give me time. I love you. And the doctor did tell her when he kicked her out, he was never leaving his wife.
No.
And she knew that he was,
stringing her along.
She was being a fool.
Oh, Dr. Oziel. It just goes to show, hell hath no fury like a woman's scorn. Oh, hey, Chandra. Hi, Chandra. Anybody else that's going to be joining us live right here as 10th Floor reacts to Monsters, episode 2, Spree. Chandra, our moderator, says, welcome to episode 2. If you haven't watched it yet, I don't recommend eating while you do, especially not tomato sauce. So earlier in the episode, kind of when we were recapping the events of the first, the alibi, the movie tickets, the friend, the restaurant, the drinks, the loud behavior to make sure that they're noticed.
Absolutely.
We go also in.
And Lyle did a good job at that.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Definitely. Oh, I don't forget seeing him here. He was screaming.
I've been here 4 hours, he said.
About being here for 4 hours. But then we also see a depiction of a more detailed depiction of the faces of the boys while they're committing this crime. And I think that's where the tomato sauce comment comes into play. You said the same thing as well. The splatter.
Yes.
Oh, the splatter.
The splatter on Lyle's face.
I don't know, Ma. Do you like it? Do you want
like
that? Do you want that out of a man? Is that what you want to see out of your men? His blood splattered faces?
Mama Cat likes some violence, but I've got some limitations on what I find is okay.
Six into
big limitations.
6 into Pappy and 10 into Ma. That's no, that's not gonna work. Hey, I was talking about in episode 1 how I recognize some of the locations. So while these kids were on their spree, when they went and they talked to Cyrus Bean from Scandal. He's the older dude that was in charge of the estate, or I guess the company that their dad was working for.
Yes, I did recognize him. I didn't know from what, but I didn't.
Want to take care of you. You want 2 limos? That guy. And they say that they want to go hide out at Hotel Bel Air, which I have passed many times in my travels through Los Angeles. They showed a shot of it, and I'm like, I know that place. I've seen the place from the outside. What a wild party they must be having on the inside, if I'm to believe this show. Did you? So, Ma, these guys, they got a stack of cash and really started going wild with that money, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They were like, what in one shopping trip, I believe they had bought 6 Rolexes.
It was like 6 Rolexes, right? And then they would buy the pants in every color.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh yeah, those pants look great on you. Buy one in every shade."
Right, and to a point where all of these masters of coin for the Menendez fortune is like, guys, you don't even actually really have this money.
Right.
What are you
So,
what, what are you
maybe
doing? To which Lyle, who as time goes by, Ma, episode 1 and episode 2, we haven't seen the rest of the series yet. By the time episode 2 is finished, I'm convinced this man just wanted free access to his parents' money. I feel like that is a primary contributor to the decision that he made.
Oh, I think so too. I think so too, and Lyle, they haven't shown us that Lyle is racked with guilt like Eric has been. Eric is very remorseful, actually.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, maybe he is, and he's doing just a much better job of keeping it down.
Yeah.
But nothing that we've seen so far shows any sort of even a twinge of near as much guilt.
No, I know. I think he kind of giggled about it to a certain
Kind of
degree.
even to the point too, where some of his responses, like when he's talking to the police being interviewed in the house, seem so just disingenuous and robotic, and not as real as what Eric has to say when he
Right.
talks about his relationship with his mom or something like that. Lyle is very much more well spoken,
And
but his
yes,
passion's
yes,
different.
and somewhat of an actor.
Somewhat of an actor, yes. Well, I'm gonna make sure that I just put on the best face I can and make sure I say exactly what I think this person wants to hear in this moment. But takes advantage again. Look, I don't know how much of this is real, how much of this is dramatized for TV, right? Because I don't know if Lyle Menendez snuck out of the house to go grab shotgun shells out of the car or not.
Right.
But if he did,
Right.
he's trying to stay one step ahead of the coppers. And also at the same time, why are they still there, you guys? Like, again, more evidence that they're not very good at this.
No, they're not very good at this. And you know what? But the police aren't very good at it either, because they said in episode 2, we should have tested the boy's hands
Gunshot residue. Now
for
they cleaned
gunshot
up.
residue.
They showered. They cleaned themselves off. All of that. They made sure they did it in the house. I don't know how much DNA was important back then, but any sort of fibers, hairs, any sort of identifiers would make perfect sense that it would be found in the house. So they didn't go anywhere to clean up.
Nope.
But I don't know. I don't know if you can wash off gunshot residue that quick. I don't know if you can do it with just soap and water. I don't know if you need something stronger, some sort of industrial solvent. CSI didn't answer that question for me.
I bet it's just soap and water. I bet it is. But I think though that I think the police were misled by just how genuinely they seemed full of sorrow. They seemed to be in shock. They couldn't believe that the mafia has killed our parents.
So they clearly worked it out in such beforehand about who they're going to blame, who they're going to point out. Just distraught. It must have been them. We saw a little bit of an episode 1, a little bit of an episode 2 as well, where they drive up to the house and then like, I guess the neighbors didn't hear.
Yeah, nobody's here.
Nobody's here. We expected there to be a swarm of cops and emergency services for us to come and learn that our parents had been taken out and we're going to fall on our knees and did it. And it didn't work out that way. So they have to go in and now fake a 911 call with Lyle, doing as he does, and Eric in the back screaming, Lyle. Ah.
Yeah. And that 911 call sounded pretty good. It did.
Oh yeah. I mean, I probably would have sent emergency services and believed it. And the cops doing their due diligence, making sure that they're interviewing the kids, finding out if it was them, pressing the story, but ultimately just leaving with a little bit of suspicion. A lot of it, though, connected to a little error in their story about seeing the place filled with smoke.
Right.
Though there was a big old hole in the window.
One of the windows had already actually been shot out. And there's no way that would have been filled with smoke as they claimed.
So that leads up, there's one question, which leads to the second question of, I mean, nothing was broken into, nothing was taken. There's no clear defensiveness. They knew their attackers. They, old Butch from Gotham. He's the bigger detective, the larger of the two men. He played a character named Butch on Gotham. He He says that the mafia wouldn't be this messy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is messy for a mafia hit.
Right.
So 1,
Right.
2,
And
3.
why would, and they wouldn't use shotguns either.
Yes, you know, they'd be a little more precise, and they were also like they wouldn't take out the wife. They would just go after the person that they were after to send a message.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stay away from the women and the children. So one question leads to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now there's a little bit of suspicion from the cops on these guys, but no real evidence, nothing to really point to them. Kind of at a standstill.
Really. Mm-hmm.
What do? Well, something needs to fall from heaven in order for them to be able to move forward, and it does. Hello, Sean. Welcome to the show. A tale of 2 different personalities. Great acting by the both actors, though, says Sean, and that's absolutely true. I think that we're going to see that all the way through. Episode after episode after episode. We're going to see Cooper Koch and Nicholas Alexander Chavez just slay. Honestly, Ma, I mean, I know that's early and we only watched the first 2 episodes, but I mean, there's a lot of people nominated for Emmys now.
There is.
There's just so many Emmy nominations.
Mm-hmm.
And one of these 2 guys may snag one of them.
They might.
I don't know if it's going to be older brother or little brother. I don't know if it'll be Eric or Lyle, Nicholas or Cooper.
Chances are they will both be nominated and they'll be against one another.
Wouldn't that be something? And then they're like, they open up the envelope and they're like, oh my God, the Academy is tied. 50-50. Nobody else even got one single vote. Split evenly down the middle for the first time in Emmy history. We're going to give it to both. Or what if one of them wins and goes up and it says, I can't accept this award without my brother. I love you, they say. Now, again, all right, folks, getting back into the fact that this is a Ryan Murphy property. Hello, Cheryl. So take me back to seeing these people in real life interacting with one another. How they looked at one another. How they hugged one another. How they may or may not have placed their hand on the small of each other's back.
It's a little odd.
A little creepy. You know, get a little questionable, we'll say. I won't say creepy. Because, again, these brothers really, relied on each other in major ways. I'm sure lines may not have been blurred. I can't, it's hard, I'm going to sit here and judge TV characters, real people. I don't know. All I know is that this is Ryan Murphy and he likes brown-haired guys. And I think we might be exaggerating a little bit of the physical comfort that they find in one another.
Maybe. But, I know in families where you have trauma, siblings are going to lean on each other because no one understands their circumstance.
Right.
And they're in the same home and they're experiencing the same thing.
And it's not like we've seen any depictions of anything.
Right.
Just enhanced intimacy. And intimacy doesn't always necessarily mean romantic.
Well, they show the 2 boys kiss each other on the mouth.
But but it's also at the same time the actors played it as nothing too wild. I don't recall.
No, I know it wasn't like that at all. But it wasn't like that at all. No, but however, my point is, I don't know too many brothers that kiss each other on the mouth.
Oh no, I would say that's pretty rare, and especially for the time, that would be a very high exception to the norm.
Right.
Chandra says yes, enhanced intimacy. Oh, Chandra says the scene on the tennis court was a little different. The jump hug with the legs wrapping around the waist, like little things like that. But I mean, I don't know. Enhanced intimacy could be cultural, says Chandra. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really can't speak to any sort of cultural differences between extremely affluent biracial children in the life that I've lived. I definitely don't have an insight into that. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see where it goes. I don't think we're going to get into any sort of yes, here's confirmation that Ryan Murphy thinks that these two brothers liked each other more than brothers. I'm not sure we're going to get there.
No, but it just a heightened connection though.
And one
I
in a
think.
way that Ryan Murphy always has in the shows that he's put together. Even though I've never listened, folks. As always, I don't know these people. I've never talked to this guy, but I have seen a lot of his work, a lot of the shows that he's created and written for, directed, all that sort of stuff. And he likes to titillate his audience in a way that has two dudes being together. Just to put it awkwardly. Uh, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But hey, kudos to those actors for diving right into it, though, because it's really convincing as heck. As real or fake as it is, how close to reality or far
Mhm.
from the truth as those depictions may be, give it
Mhm.
to the two dudes for throwing themselves into it, and once again to Nicholas Chavez for just biting into something that is not daytime soaps.
Boy, it sure is not. And I wonder how, I wonder what we're going to see in the next episodes, because even though she hasn't really had any camera time really, Belial has a girlfriend
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that he's spending some time with.
Yeah. We saw a
I
little bit of
wonder,
her, yeah, I think in the first episode.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
there is
what,
a girlfriend for
I don't
Lyle.
know what any sort of role these people play in the real story. So like I said in episode one, this is kind of a fresh story for me because I've heard of the Menendez brothers because I was
Hmm.
alive, in
Hmm.
the time frame. But I was too young to have watched the trials and followed the story or really know anything about these two. So this is all fresh. This is all new. This is all a process of experience for me. New
And
experience for me.
think, I don't think, of course, we're watching that, but I don't think I would have let the channel stay the same if I were had my two little boys watching the story about these two young men kill their parents. I think I probably would have trained the channel off the news.
Right, right. Chandra
I
says he
think
want.
I would have.
Chandra says he wanted to marry her, Lyle and the girlfriend. That's when Jose went off, and yeah, screaming at the
Oh yeah,
table.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if that was episode one or two. It was probably one, but he was saying, "Yo, it's your age. You can't tell me, you hypocrite." And that's when they ripped the wig off. Yeah, that was episode one. Um,
Yeah, and Kitty was yelling at him,
mhm.
no way as well.
Yes. So, I guess that's the same woman, his girlfriend, and the inciting incident, which led to the inciting incident, which led to the story that we're all watching now. All right.
It's
So yeah,
interesting too, of course it's 1989, but there's Kitty sitting there at the dinner table. She's got her dinner plate and her cigarette at the
yes.
same time.
Oh gosh, it's just so time accurate. Oh
Hmm.
gosh. So we got a lot of this episode of Jude, of the mistress Jude.
Hmm.
Because Judelon is her full
Doodle
name.
on, yes.
Judelon. That's a name I've never heard before.
I never heard of that either.
So we got a lot of her, and she's played by Leslie Grossman. Leslie Grossman. She's done a number of Ryan Murphy projects, also American Horror
Hmm.
Story. Um, she was in Apocalypse and others. And
I recognized her, but I couldn't place her.
yeah, so she's been on other Ryan Murphy shows.
Mhm.
I know her from a sitcom called What I Like About You, starring Amanda Bynes and Jenny Garth from 90210, and Leslie Grossman as the third.
Huh.
Yeah, it was on the
Yeah, I
WB.
don't think I saw it.
It was a sitcom in the WB. It was like the early 2000s. It was what Amanda Bynes did after the Amanda Show and left Nickelodeon.
Hmm.
And then struck out on her own for WB and started doing this sitcom, which was, I guess, for older teens. I'd say the
Hmm.
age group is probably 17 to 21 is probably their demographic.
Hmm.
But yeah, I remember her from that. That was her breakout role for me, was Leslie Grossman. So years later, when I see her show up on Ryan Murphy shows, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's that person I know from that sitcom. And the characters that she plays are just totally different than what you would
Hmm.
expect. So she too is somebody that dives in there. Um, Judelon is interesting. Leslie Grossman is interesting. She's
Hmm.
definitely one that's holding the plot in her hands right now by the time this thing is over. So I just don't know where it's going to go. I don't know, because I'm sort of worried for these people, but I'm also not at the same time. Because I
Hmm.
don't think that these guys are going to go after anybody else, but the fear is still there.
Well, you know what? But no, they're not going to go. But Lyle was all about, well, we have to kill him.
Yeah. And Eric's like, come on, man.
That was that was Lyle's answer to how to handle the psychiatrist was we'll kill him.
Yeah, and Eric was like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
I'm not doing that. All right, if that's happening, then you do it.
But if he would have reacted the way Lyle did when Eric approached about shooting his parents, he'd have been all on board.
Oh yeah, well,
that's the way Lyle
different
reacted.
Different
But
minds.
Eric, yes,
different minds.
They are
different
not
ideas.
the same young man.
Absolutely
Eric
not.
and Lyle are not the same.
Well, like I think that lends into what I said in episode 1. You know, I mean, when the psychologist described the 2 types of murder, he might have been, I think, Eric. I mean, in the show, I can't say for fact because I don't know these people. This is based on real stuff that really happened.
Mm-hmm.
But from watching it from the show point of view, dramatized
yes,
for our entertainment. It seems like I think it looks like they're depicting Eric as the one that was just feeling a little more passionate in the moment. Maybe if the waiting period for the pistol had to go through, then this crime wouldn't have been committed.
Yeah, because it did appear that from the time they talked about it to making the decision to carrying through with their plan was pretty short.
It was pretty short, only a couple of days it seems. So with all of that and their urge to get it and to bypass any sort of waiting period and needing the idea is that like their rush to get it done. I think that the waiting period might have changed the whole thing when it came to Eric's mindset. At least that's
he could have talked himself out of it in that period of time. I could see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Lyle, on the other hand, would have then not gone through with it, but been very disappointed.
Yeah.
He might have gone off the deep end. Who knows? He might have got into the substances earlier.
Yeah, they showed him partying his 80s butt off, didn't they?
Partying hard, and here we go. Once again, folks, Ryan Murphy property, Nicholas Chavez, body shot number 2. All right, maybe I'll have a little countdown, a little counter going as these things are going of Nick Chavez wearing only a thong, a stuffed thong, folks. Sorry to ruin the imagination for you. Wearing a cup.
Yeah, but they're partying, boy. They're doing all kinds of coke and stuff and running around doing crazy things at that hotel.
Mm-hmm. The Hotel Bel Air that I visited, and I'm like, oh my goodness, oh my gosh, is that what's happening in there right now?
And I remember the scene where where they're so with the spending and Eric orders a grilled cheese and tap water and
you're elite now, big brother.
Yes.
You are among the 1%. Spend dad's money so long as we can find that safe and manipulate everything into it and cry about dad's fake girlfriends and pictures and the yada yada yada. Master manipulator.
Yes.
Crazy manipulator. That Lyle is gonna manipulate himself straight to prison.
And found out that they had actually inherited everything.
To find out, yes, 100%. Their parents were full of it when they said you're being cut out.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if that made Eric feel a little more guilty too.
I think it did.
I
think it did, absolutely. Absolutely. If they'd actually been omitted from the will, I don't think he would have. That was part of his guilt too.
Oh yeah. He probably just been PO'd.
Guilt.
Because all of that happened, the will hunt and all that happened before the psychologist. We have to remember that in the timeline of this jumbled show, the stuff that we see with the psychologist is the furthest forward in the timeline.
Yes.
Everything that's not centered around the psychologist is the past.
Yes.
So, wasn't that a fake document? I don't know if it was. They didn't say so yet, Chandra.
Right.
Because the housekeeper just so happened to find it in the closet, this crumpled up piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that mean though that Lyle took it out of the safe, destroyed it, and then made a fake one? Because if so, I don't know if that was particularly clear.
I don't either.
Leave a comment, folks. Let us know what really happened. Let us know what you think.
I didn't watch the whole. I mean, of course, I knew about it, but as far like following following it, no, I didn't.
Yeah, you don't know everything, not every single detail about it. All
no.
that. Yeah, I don't know, Chandra.
There's some folks that really enjoy crime TV, court TV.
Mm-hmm.
There's a first trial of it was televised.
Yeah.
But I never watched any of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, don't come here for true crime, folks. Come here for mother and son talking about a dumb Netflix show. Chandra says, for some reason, I thought Lyle took the will. The housekeeper found the document later. It could have gone down that way. And we just didn't see a blatant depiction of it. I expected him to come out of the garage with something tucked in his pants.
Me too.
But we didn't get to see that. Chandra says, no, I'm not sure about real life, but I meant in the film. Yeah, I'm not sure either. Maybe we'll get into it in the coming episodes. Because as we've seen already with episode 2, we go back a little bit to what we already know to kind of see it from another point of view, another angle, maybe find a detail or two that they had omitted from the first time that we had seen it. We got to meet their uncles, Carlos and Brian, coming through to help the boys.
Looked like I was the uncle for each one of them, right?
Yeah, that's what I gathered it as.
Yeah.
And then the cops are hot on the case. Detective Zoller and his partner, I didn't catch the name, Detective Butch from Gotham. I like them. I like their pairing. I like their cop energy. I think when it comes to like buddy cop partners, they're doing great. I think that those two guys have a lot of chemistry with one another. I also like the old man detective who's just kind of like too tired for this S. you kind of get that sense from him. It's like, well, yeah. I know you think it's the boys. Well, I mean, yeah. Like the Beverly Hills, they're going to lawyer themselves out of it.
Right.
So I don't know how it's all going to go down. It's going to be an exciting ride through Monsters.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's dark. Oh, yeah, it's dark.
It's dark, but also not as, I don't find it to be scary. It's not a scary show.
No, I don't
feel thrilled by it. I don't feel like I'm on the edge of my seat or something's going to jump out at me. I think we're just going to get into graphic depictions of things. Probably relations at some point. And we're going to get into the depths of their brokenness, the depths of the monsters that are Eric and Lyle Menendez.
And I think we're going to learn about the monsters that created the monsters.
Yeah, I think that the family is going to be our primary focus. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what goes down. So stay tuned with the channel, folks. Give us a subscribe here on 10th Floor Podcasts. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, like the video. If you had a great time listening in, you can find the audio version of this over on JLJ Media, where you can find all of your favorite podcasts. So that's Spotify and iHeartRadio and beyond. Just look up the Monsters After Show on JLJ Media. But that's it. We're going to continue this all weekend long, all the way through into Monday, as we continue to watch Monster and give you our reactions to it.
Yeah,
so hopefully you can. Yeah, hopefully you can stay with us. We'll be back again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific time to cover episodes 3 and 4. So until then, see ya. I've been Matt.
I've been Kat.
Give us a subscription. Give us a like. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.